So we've got that language meeting today, so we'll do that straight after Yunburn.
It's Wednesday morning at Archibald State School, and Principal Preston Parter is making the most of the precious hours before the first bell.
Once 8 o'clock sort of hits, the students start rolling through. You guys want a Milo, Urella?
This is the only school in this rural town in central Queensland. It has about 120 students from prep right up to year 12, and almost 3/4 of them are Indigenous.
A lot of people walk into our school and say, oh gee, it feels nice here. That was something I didn't get 6 years ago. Archibald was the ghetto school of the North Burnett. So yeah, we've worked pretty hard to sort of change that mindset a little bit.
6 years ago, the school started a program to revive the local Aboriginal language, Waka Waka.
The challenges that we thought we would have would be non-Indigenous people accepting the language in our community, and that's been the total opposite of what we've experienced. Like, a lot of the feedback has been our kids love learning language. We're acknowledging old people that have looked after this land for a very long time.
Now, language and culture is embedded in the curriculum. More kids are going to school, enrolments are up, and behaviour incidents have almost halved.
I think it's important that we understand that there's other ways of teaching as well, not just classrooms and chairs and tables. It's sometimes we learn better outside.
Despite these outcomes, language programs like this are rare. Preston hopes the Voice to Parliament could change that by encouraging policymakers to adopt similar programs nationally.
We haven't seen much of a closing of the gap in health or education in the last 10 years. So I'm hoping that what feeds back through the voice really shows what can make an impact, and then it's embedded in what we do and it's the norm. I hope it trickles down from, like policy to the groundwork.
In the heart of Sydney, these teenagers are getting a taste of life on a building site.
1, 2,
yes,
one at a time.
Look, it has been really hard for young Aboriginal kids to break into the construction industry, and you need certain tickets before you'd even get an interview. So how are they going to come up with the money to get $1,800 worth of tickets and then get the opportunity to go for the interview? That's where I come in.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab that machine over there. So that's the knuckle booth.
Nathan Martin is the driving force behind today's session. The Ewan man has set up a network of businesses to offer subsidised training for young people and link them with construction jobs. He came up with the idea 7 years ago, at a time when his life looked very different.
I was convicted of commercial ecstasy supply, so supplying ecstasy, and also I pled guilty to attempt to knowingly take part in the supply of firearms. It got me a 7.5-year prison sentence when I had to do 4-year minimum non-parole period. I decided that, this is not what I want to do and not where I want to be, so what was I going to do to change my life?
A year after his release, he founded his first recruitment company, Yalligan. His latest venture provides training for people in prison and helps them find jobs when they're released.
We're the most over-incarcerated people on the planet, and I think that is one of the key things that needs to be addressed in this country.
I know.
Sean, how are you?
Yeah, good. This is my mob.
Nathan believes the Voice to Parliament could be part of the solution.
For such a period of long time, we've been told what's good for us. I really do think that we need our own voice in Parliament so that we can say what is good for us. I think that's the role reversal that needs to take place.
But he says there needs to be more education about what the Voice is and how it'll work.
I know very little about the Voice of Parliament. I have heard of it, but I didn't really know much about it. And it's funny too, because I did ask 10 people that are in my lives in a different way, and not one of them could give me an answer, you know? And to me, that seems like a bit of a letdown on the communication that has gone out around it.
Do you remember what the gum leaf smells like? Do you smell?
This unassuming building in Brisbane's south has become a haven for Indigenous families.
That is our extended family, it's our community, and this is their home.
The children here are part of a program called Birthing in Our Community. It supports parents of Indigenous babies from pregnancy through to their child's 3rd birthday.
How many koalas do you have? 1, 2.
Bundjalung woman Christy Wadago manages the program.
Our mob don't engage with healthcare for a variety of reasons, and that comes back to, institutionalised racism that exists, and also the fact, basic access. So we're here to be able to really support that process and really help mum, rebuild her trust back in the healthcare system.
In almost a decade, preterm birth rates for mums in the program have halved, meaning babies are born healthier and are less likely to develop chronic illness.
We're one of the first programs across Australia that is literally closing the gaps.
The program is now set to expand, but for years it's struggled to get secure funding.
If the Voice provides a platform for those particular outcomes to be heard, then that's a great thing.
But Christy wonders how the Voice will represent the hundreds of Indigenous language groups across the country.
What I need here in South East Queensland is very different to someone in the Pilbara or, in Tasmania. So that is concerning for me.
And she's bracing for a divisive debate as the referendum draws closer and the No campaign ramps up.
Is it a worm? It is a constant conversation that we as blackfellas have about justifying who we are, where we come from. And if it doesn't work out the way that we would like it to, what's the impact of that to the community? We have been fighting for our voices to be heard forever, and for that to then be, to be squashed would be heartbreaking.
Successive governments have tried and largely failed to improve outcomes for Indigenous people. Whether the Voice to Parliament fulfills its promise to be a turning point remains to be seen.
I see my old people die too young. I see them riddled with chronic disease, and it's my obligation to care for them. But in turn, it is about ensuring that our babies are healthy, not only in their body but also in their spirit, so they can grow up and be as strong and capable that they can be.